Now. Yeah.
So, hello everyone. Hello everyone. It's great to see you. All the 99 of us here present, and I'm sure that uh, uh, others will join in the few upcoming minutes. My name is Yoel Tawil, and I'm the coordinator of the course Leadership Across Fields. Uh, I, um, I teach and conduct research at the School of Multidisciplinary Studies at the Holon Institute of Technology in Holon, which is in Israel, and I will be the coordinator for this course. It's really great to see all of you. It's a huge international collaboration that we worked quite hard to get it going, and I hope that you will derive insights from the many lectures and workshops that we have in store for you. So this is an international course um, in the general framework provided by Impact, which is the collaboration and cooperation of several academic institutions in Europe and outside of it. I will and before we begin with the first lecture, I would like to really to give a few comments about the structure of this course. It will be comprised of 10 online sessions and another one in which you will present, in which we will see your presentations. And basically, it's leadership across fields at we will meet weekly at 3 o'clock Central European Time. We will, of course, keep you posted and updated because today, since we had a certain technical difficulty, we had to change the link, but we will keep you posted. And each week you will have a session that will address leadership from a certain perspective. Today it will be the general definition of leadership with a focus on consumerism, but it will go also to entrepreneurial leadership, technological leadership, political leadership, leadership in education, ethical dilemmas, your own personal roadmap in order to become leaders or more capable leaders, including a self-reflective exercise, but more on that later. So we will meet here, each Monday for 11 sessions. 10 of them are sessions in which we will all learn from from diverse lecturers from multiple institutions, and one devoted to your own insights. Yeah, and of course, turn on your cameras. So basically, in what the requirements for this course is, of course, your attendance and your active participation, which accounts for 10% of your grade, 20%, and the rest of the of your grading in this course will be divided into two separate assignments, and you will get more details on that later. One assignment is individual. It will be a self-reflective exercise on yourself, given the insights that you will get from the course, and the other will be in groups, in which we will ask you to interview a leader and then upload the main ideas, insights, and that you got from this interview, in order to share them with us all. But again, that will be provided to you at a later stage. This is an online, of course, leadership is one of the soft skills that is required today, and this course, for some of you, eventually is a precursor to a week-long workshop in Chania, Crete, at the beginning of June, when we will meet in person in order to learn some more. That's about it. We are working with Professor Konstantinos Petridis. Would you like to say a few words, Kostas?
Yes, thank you very much, Joel, for this introduction. Yes, indeed, this is the face-to-face workshop that will take place in Crete from the 2nd to the 6th of June. Already the program and the workshops have been finalized. And the workshop, they will be part and continuation of the online sessions that Joel coordinates and the Holon Institute of Technology team in Israel. So it's going to be one story. So we are going to continue the story with workshops in Crete from the 2nd to the 6th of June. Already we are working in order to have a very fruitful, let's say, finishing of the online part with the on-site workshops, and have a more complete idea about leadership from all the perspectives, as Joel has mentioned. So for me, I would like to congratulate the Holon team and the partners in the Impact for their contribution. And we are looking forward for a nice start, because it looks like a nice start, but the most important is the nicer finishing. So let's continue and work and collaborate all together, teachers and students and teachers. All of us, we are colleagues in the process of learning. So we are looking forward to start this course, and also to meeting you in Crete, for those that you will travel to Crete, and it looks that there are going to be many of you. So thank you very much, Joel. The floor is yours.
So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Willy Abraham, which is the head of the Department of Technological Marketing at the Sapir Academic College, and of course at Hadassah Academic College, and the vice president of the Abraham Group, and the author of the book, The Wonder Drug for Your Business. Vili, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Thank you for the introduction, Yoel.
So the floor is yours, and we are eager to learn from you. Have fun, everyone, and let's go.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm really excited to see all of you. Just a few words about myself. I am also based in Israel, in Rishon LeZion, which is about 8 miles from Tel Aviv. And I've been a professor of marketing for many, many years, since about 2012. And today I head the technological marketing department at Sapir College, and I have about 4 years of experience in that leadership role. And I also have parallel other positions that I hold, like the CEO of a startup company and the vice president of marketing in the Abraham Group, which is an international company. And I'm just 2-3 days away from launching the book that Yoel has mentioned, which I've co-authored with one of the greatest business strategists today in the world, Jay Abraham. I don't know if you heard of him, but he's really well-known strategist, and I had the privilege to meet him, to have him as my mentor, and to also co-author a book about referral strategies, which are business strategies that you use in order to bring in more customers and grow your business. So just a few words before I start with the PowerPoint presentation. I know that you are people from all over the world. Some of you may have leadership roles now. Some of you may have them in the future. But I would like to focus my presentation on leadership in general, because I think that all of us have to be leaders, not only in business, but also in our lives. We have to know how to lead our families to better places. And you can do that if you use a little bit of strategy. Okay, so I hope to bring a lot of added value by changing your mindset a little bit about what is leadership, what kind of leadership roles there are in the world, what theories stand behind different leadership roles. And you'll see that there's, in real life, there's a combination of things. I mean, if I look at all the 4, maybe 5 theories that I'm going to go over, so if I look at myself as a leader at Sapir College or in other places, I use a combination of different points that you'll see in the theories. Okay, so let's start with the PowerPoint presentation. One second. Where's my presentation? There it is here. Okay. So where is it? Okay. Okay, so the title that I chose is Leadership Impact Styles and Influence on Consumer Behavior. So I will focus on consumer behavior, but that will be towards the end. I would like to give you a broader background on what is leadership and compare it to management, and talk about the other theories. So what is leadership? Leadership is the ability to influence, guide, and inspire others towards a shared goal. And this is in stark contrast to being a manager. In a minute, I will talk about what is the difference between a leader and a manager, but the difference is basically based on being tactical if you're a manager, as opposed to being strategic if you are a leader. In order to understand what a leader or the mindset of a good leader is, there's a theory that is called funnel vision versus tunnel vision. So what is tunnel? A tunnel is something that is very narrow. So it means that if you drive through a tunnel, you can't really see anything on the left side or the right side. So if you have a manager mindset, you're like in a tunnel, okay? You really don't look around. You try to micromanage. You try to solve all sorts of problems that come up, but you really don't look into the far future. The funnel vision is, you know what a funnel is, right? It's this kind of a plastic thing which is very wide at the top and very narrow at the bottom. Okay, so let's say that you want to pour something into a bottle that has a very tight or very small hole. Okay, so you use a funnel in order to pour it in there. So if you have this funnel mindset, you would look at the left side, the right side, you would look far into the future in order to not only devise and formulate a vision and direction, but also think about how to reach there. So when we talk about leadership, we're talking about vision and direction. We're talking about influencing and motivating, which I think is a very important factor if you are a leader, because if you cannot influence, you cannot motivate your workers, whether it's to be more productive, whether it's to work on self-development, or just motivate them, okay, to just be better employees and contribute more to your organization, then you will not be very effective. And of course, it's also about decision-making and problem solving. And the fourth point is emotional intelligence. And I'd like to spend 2 or 3 minutes talking about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is one of the most important soft skills that you can acquire, regardless of whether you're a leader or not. People who are emotionally intelligent are more successful. So if you take, for example, 2 people, okay, let's take 2 programmers. One is a super programmer, very intelligent, okay, but not very emotionally intelligent. The other one is not such a good programmer, but is more emotionally intelligent. Who do you think is going to be more successful in the long run? the one that is more emotionally intelligent. Okay, and there are a lot of studies showing this. So basically, emotional intelligence is knowing what to say, when to say, and whom to say it to. Okay, it's basically regulating your emotion, not being the type of person who, has outbursts, somebody who gets angry. It's somebody who can control himself, but also focuses on timing. There are a lot of things that we want to say to different people, but it depends when we say it, the tone we use to say it, and the words we choose. So let's take a look at the difference between leadership and management. So leadership and management are related, but they're very different. Leaders inspire, they take risks, and they set a vision. Managers are organizers, they execute, and they're more focused on controlling. So if you look at various companies today in the world, many times they say we're looking for a marketing manager, we're looking for an operations manager. They're really looking for a leader, because the leader is the person with the vision to bring the company forward, increase production, increase motivation, and basically bring the bottom line, which is greater revenue, profits, and market share. So Steve Jobs is an example of an extraordinary visionary leader, and Tim Cook is more of an efficient manager. A lot of people argue, we can argue about this, but a lot of people say that he is far from being the visionary or the leader that Steve Jobs was. If you look at leadership theories, there are different theories that developed over time, and basically there are four main ones. So I'll just go over them, and then I'll go into detail into each one of them and give more examples. So the first one is called the trait theory, which basically focuses on your characteristics and what kind of characteristics you need to have in order to become a better leader. The other one is called behavioral theory, which focuses on the behaviors that are expected from a leader. Then there's the contingency theory and transformational leadership. Okay, let's take a look at the trait theory of leadership. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, physical, virtual. Yoel, I can't see everybody, so if you see any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer. So the trait theory of leadership focuses on inherited traits, okay? Assuming that people are either born leaders or they're not born leaders. There's something to it, okay? But I think everybody can become a leader, okay? Regardless of whether you were born with the particular characteristics that characterize or can be seen in leaders. The common traits are confidence, which you can work on, intelligence, including not only IQ, but also EQ, which is the emotional intelligence, and of course, charisma. All of them, if you search for books on Amazon, you search for videos on YouTube, you can see that each one of these characteristics or traits can be developed. So all of us can become great leaders. And there's some criticism about this theory, like with every theater, that it ignores situational factors and learned skills. Meaning it really assumes that there are three characteristics that you must have and be born with, but there are a lot of things that you can learn to become a better leader, okay? Beyond confidence, intelligence, and charisma, okay? Like being able to motivate people, being able to look outside the box or think outside the box, a host of characteristics. Winston Churchill is a great example of somebody who was a born leader, and he's often cited in trait theory discussions due to his charismatic leadership, resilience, and determination. By the way, resilience and determination are things that will help you have a better life, regardless of whether you're a leader in an organization or a leader in your life. Okay, we have challenges. So if there's a setback, what do? Do we give up, or do we learn from the setback and our mistakes and grow from that? Okay, and of course, determination, knowing what you want and pursuing it, decisiveness, being able to make decisions, and natural leadership ability. So these are the four characteristics of Winston Churchill. The other leadership theory is called the behavioral leadership theory. And what this theory says is that leadership is about behaviors rather than traits. I disagree. I think it's a combination of both. But according to this theory, there are two types of leaders. One is called the task-oriented leader, which focuses on structure and productivity. And the other one is the people-oriented leader, which emphasizes team motivation and well-being. Okay, and again, I think a great leader, whether you base yourself on or you focus on the behavioral theory, or you focus on the trait theory, it's really a combination of things. So I think that you also have to focus on structure and productivity, but you also have to be one who motivates your employees and do take care of their well-being. Okay, 1 second, sorry. Okay, let's take a look at Google, which is a great example of a company that implements the behavioral theory. So if you look at its people-oriented leadership, it encourages collaboration and innovation, which is phenomenal, and that's why it's a company that is always advancing. But it also has the aspect of task-oriented leadership, because the leaders in the company empower teams without micromanaging. You know what micromanaging is? Micromanaging is like, let's say you are a leader in any organization. You walk around the plant or the company, and you always, you make comments about every small thing that somebody does. Why are you doing this? Why did you start at 8 o'clock? Why did you pick up the phone this way? Okay, managing is a terrible thing to do, by the way, and it's something that it avoids doing. Its example, the project where it has implemented this theory very nicely is the Project Oxygen. I don't know if you're familiar with this oxygen, but you can Google it. Okay, and what it did is it studied leadership behaviors and identified key traits of effective managers. One of them was coaching, which I think is super important. If I look at myself as the head of the academic department, I always coach my lecturers. For example, how to write an academic article, how to choose between different journals, how to choose a topic for your research. Sorry, excuse my voice. If I look at my role as the vice president in the Abraham Group, it's coaching new intakes or coaching the managers that work under me. Okay, and of course, vision, which is another effective trait, and inclusivity, okay, which I think you know what it means, and if you don't, please ask. Okay, so Google and behavioral theory leadership. In conclusion, if you read about this, I just didn't go into much detail because we're very short in time, but what the example shows is that a good leadership is developed through behaviors, not just natural traits, reinforcing the core idea of behavioral leadership theory. But again, I would take this in combination with the first theory, because I don't think that just behaviors is what can make you a great leader. The third one is called contingency leadership theory. And according to this theory, leadership styles should adapt to different situations. That's what contingency means, okay? Contingency means situation. So we're going to focus on 3 models within this larger model. The first one is called the Feidler's contingency model. The second one, path goal theory. And the third one is situational leadership. Okay, sorry, 1 second, just technical issues. Feidler's contingency theory. According to this theory, leadership effectiveness depends on the situation, not just the leader's traits. That's true. So for example, a leader can have a host of great traits that would make him potentially a great leader. But let's say that you lack resilience and you need to cope with crisis or something unexpected. If you'll not be able to cope with that specific situation, that will be a serious problem, and that's the most important and significant test of a leader. Can you cope with crises that pop up and show resilience? So according to this theory, leaders are task-orientated. They should focus on efficiency, structure, and goals. They're relationship-orientated. I couldn't agree more with that. You have to be a person who's a people's person. Okay, but again, no single leadership style is best. Leaders must match their style to the situation. Okay, let's take a look at the path goal theory. Sorry, 1 second. I'm having these technical issues with my computer. 1 second, I'm really sorry. Yeah, okay. So this is the right slide. The path goal theory. So according to this theory, leaders enhance or improve employee motivation by providing clear path to success. Okay, so again, if I take myself as head of department, I would sit with a new lecturer who is a tenure track lecturer, somebody who is going to be tenure in, let's say, 5 to 7 years, and I help him or her path the way. I explain, look, in order to become a tenured lecturer, you need to have an X number of publications. You need to participate in conferences. You have to be a good professor, a good lecturer. Okay, so I actually help them see where they need to go and help them build the stepstones. And according to the theory, leaders adapt based on team needs and workplace dynamics. So being adaptable is super important, just like in our lives. Okay, things change. Corona, wars, economic crises. Okay, things happen all of a sudden, and you as the leader of your family or the leader of yourself as an individual must be able to adapt quickly to changing dynamics. So if you look at the path goal theory, there are 3 leadership styles. One of them is called directive, which means you provide clear instructions to employees, but this is best for unstructured tasks. Okay, so let's say I tell one of my employees, look, I need you to work on a particular project, okay? And I didn't give a structured task. I just said, this is your task, okay? I need you to have this project up and rising. Okay, so here I would have to provide clear instructions about how to do it, right? Because there's no structure. Supportive focuses on well-being. Okay, so if you are working in an industry where there's a lot of stress, in the high-tech industry, for example, there's a lot of stress. You know, it all looks quite attractive and alluring from the outside, but in certain positions and in certain jobs that you do in the high-tech industry, the stress is really high in the sky. The third one is participative, which means that you involve your employees in the decision-making. And I believe in participative leadership. I don't like being the one who makes a decision myself and just asking my employees to execute, but I like to have their input and see what they think about it, because there are certain tasks that I don't do. Okay, so for example, I know that there's an operative manager. I know that there's a financial manager in my company, but I don't go into detail about every small thing that they do. And that's why I would like to hear their input regarding decisions that can also affect them. The other theory is called situational leadership. And according to this theory, effective leaders adapt their style based on the team's development level. Okay, so the first one is the telling or directive style, which includes high guidance but low support. Okay, so this is for beginners. Okay, the selling one, the coaching, is high guidance and high support. This is more suitable for developing employees, not beginning. Okay, the participating one or supporting is characterized by low guidance, high support, and it's usually appropriate for competent employees, but those that don't have much motivation. Unfortunately, in organizations, you meet all kinds of people. Some of them have very high motivation, and some of them have low motivation. Okay, so the participating style would be very suitable with those people, assuming that they're very competent. And the delegating style is where you use low guidance, low support, but it's for experienced and self-reliant employees. So for example, if I look at any organization where I have a leadership role, okay, I delegate, okay? It's one of the most important things in being a leader. You cannot do everything, okay? So if you find the people who are experienced or have the right experience, and they are able to work themselves because they think outside the box and they're also self-motivated, you can delegate to them, okay? But the whole point and idea is to be able to pinpoint them in the organization, because not all of them are suitable for this. Okay, and then we have the autocratic leadership. Yeah.
Can I interrupt you or
Sure,
to write in the chat?
No, don't write in the chat because I can read and lecture at the same time.
Okay. So can I say my question? I mean, the term of guidance and support here, I see them match, and I don't see much difference or the distinction between guide and support. Can you just clarify this point?
Which one? What style are you talking about? I can't hear you on mute. You're talking about the
The
situation.
last one, the situational leadership. I mean, high guidance and low support. I mean, what's the difference here between guide and support, or the guidance and support? What do you mean?
Okay, so when you guide someone, it's okay. I'll give you an example. For if I take my role as head of the academic department, okay? So let's say I give a task of organizing an open day to one of my lecturers, okay? So guiding them would be just like something like meeting them once a day, once a week, once a month, and just making sure that they're taking the right steps in order for us to have a successful open day. Support would be actually supporting and being more active in what they're doing, actually supporting them, okay? Telling them, look, if you need, for example, graduates to come and to convince new people to enroll into our program, then I can support you by giving you telephone numbers of our graduates. So it's being a lot more active in the process itself. Guiding is just guiding. You know, I pick up the phone and I say, this is what I need you to do. This is step number 1. This is step 2. No, this is step number 3. But supporting is being a lot more active.
I see. Thank you for that.
Okay. Okay, sure. Yeah, and please ask questions because unfortunately I cannot read the messages. Okay, and then we have the autocratic leadership. It's characterized by central decision making as opposed to my beliefs, where I share my thoughts and make decisions based on feedback that I get from my employees. And it's high control over subordinates. It's really being micromanaging, wanting to control everything that people do, what time they start working, what time they end working, how they did every small thing. I believe giving tasks, delegating, trusting people, and judging them based on the end results. Okay, and you can see here Jeff Bezos, who is very structured and has a very demanding approach. He's quite an autocratic leader. Okay. All right. Then we have what is called democratic leadership. It's characterized by encouraging participation and collaboration, which I strongly believe in. And because people feel free to express their opinions and to be part of a process, it boosts creativity and job satisfaction. People don't like being micromanaged. Okay, they don't like being told what to do every minute. And Google's team-based approach fosters innovation, and that's why they're one of the most innovative companies in the world. Okay, they don't believe in autocratic leadership. Okay, and then there's the laissez-faire leadership. Laissez-faire means to let do or let it be in French. And what characterizes it is a hands-off approach, allowing employees independence, which I think is a great way to encourage creativity, to boost motivation, and work or employee satisfaction. Intervention is minimized, and individuals are given maximum autonomy. And this is effective when team members are highly skilled, right? So I would not give complete autonomy to somebody who I don't trust completely, or is not very highly skilled, or doesn't have enough experience, or the number of years of experience that I would expect. Okay, but the laissez-faire leadership is a hands-off approach and allows independence. Now, in a few minutes, I will summarize everything. And I think that if I look, for example, at myself, I'm a combination of all of these, right? So I have a hands-off approach, and I do delegate, okay? I motivate people to think outside the box. I believe in supporting or supporting more, supporting less, different types of employees depending on their numbers of years of experience in the organization, but definitely not autocratic. Now, look at this example here. 1 second. This is Warren Buffett. I don't know if you know him, so I wrote a few words so that you know who I'm talking about. Warren Buffett is an American investor and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He's one of the world's richest individuals. He has $154 billion in assets. His approach is centered on trusting strong managers, capable managers, skilled managers, long-term value creation for your customers, and disciplined capital allocation. And this is one of his quotations, which I really liked. We don't tell a 60-year-old CEO how to run their business. Okay, so it means that you trust people. If they're old enough, they have enough experience, you just let them do the work that you need them to do. You guide them, you support them where necessary. But in general, you let people do the job. All right, this is Elon Musk. He's a transformational leader. And what characterizes transformational leaders is that they inspire and motivate toward a shared vision, and they encourage innovation and creativity. Elon Musk is the owner of Tesla, which we see a lot all over the world, and also in Israel in the last few years. He's also the president and CEO, I believe, of SpaceX, and he pushes boundaries with bold vision. Okay, he's a very bold guy. He's a bit of an anarchist, honestly. I mean, he goes against standards, and he tests people and challenges all sorts of opinions and ideas. But maybe that's one of the things that brought him to where he is today. Then there's the servant leadership. Okay, this is this is Howard. He's the former CEO of Starbucks. And what characterizes servant leadership is the focus on serving the team first, which I think is super, super important. Look, if I have workers who come up with an idea, Vili, I have an idea for a new course. Vili, I have an idea for a conference. Okay, I would be the one who encourages bringing up new ideas, creativity, motivation, and remove any blocks in the process. Okay, so servant leaders are ones who also build strong, ethical, and people-oriented cultures. Okay, and Howard, he used to prioritize employee benefits and satisfaction. Now, why is that important? Because if you lose an employee, which is very easy to do, it's very hard to find somebody that is as good to replace him. You might need to invest a lot of money in training and all sorts of workshops. And on the way, you might lose a lot of customers who may suffer from customer service from somebody who is not as good at the job. Okay. Let's take a look at leaders and organizational structure. So leaders shape company culture and employee engagement, which means, satisfaction, bringing up ideas, increasing productivity, increasing customer satisfaction, et cetera, et cetera. And if you look at what is called ethical leadership builds trust. So being an ethical leader means not working against social norms, not working against what is acceptable, whether legally or on a social level, on a moral level. Visionary leadership, which is a very important part of leadership, creates strong brands. So for example, if you look at Apple, if you look at Mercedes, if you look at Duncan, okay, all of these companies are very strong global brands, okay, and you can add Microsoft, obviously, and lots of other brands. So one of the reasons why they've become such strong brands is because there is a very strong vision and a defined vision behind each one of those brands that was created by the CEO, okay? However, if you have poor leadership, which does not have any vision or doesn't have any element of strategy, okay, and long-term thinking, it can cause disengagement. Disengagement means that people will stop being your followers, will stop believing in you, will stop wanting to even come to work. Okay, let's talk about crisis leadership. Crisis leadership, sorry, one second. Crisis leadership requires strong leadership, especially during crisis. And you need to be able to communicate why the problem occurred and take decisive action. I don't know if you remember, but a few good years ago, Note 7, the Samsung Note 7, they used to explode. Do you remember that? Yeah, okay. It was a serious crisis. Following the explosion of a few Note 7s, the stock price of Samsung sunk by 30% in one day. That's huge. And one of the ways that it was able to recover very quickly from this crisis is by having the CEO stand in front of the world and say, look, we take responsibility for what happened. If you think that there might be a problem with your Note 7, we are more than happy to have it back and return the money. And they took responsibility, okay? And they said, we understand that there's a problem. We'll do the best we can do in order to check why this happened and it does not repeat itself. But this is part of being a leader. An example I would like to share with you is Johnson & Johnson's handling of Tylenol crisis back in the 1980s. The Tylenol crisis was a landmark case of the corporate crisis management. That's why it's given as a case study in leadership courses, which occurred in 1982 when 7 people died in the Chicago area after taking extra strength Tylenol, which was laced with cyanide, okay, which is poison, okay? And what they did is they did the same thing. They got up on stage, they took responsibility for what happened, and they came out of this even stronger. Okay, so this I said, right? 7 people died, right? Okay. By the way, the reason why this happened is not because of some problem in the manufacturing process, but because somebody sabotaged the product. Okay, but again, Tylenol's timely response to the crisis, taking responsibility, set the standard gold for the gold standard for crisis management. Okay, so the bottom line from what I just mentioned regarding the Note 7 and Tylenol, if there's a crisis in your organization and you're the leader, you must take responsibility as soon as possible, say what you're going to do in order to resolve the problem, and what steps you're going to take in order to prevent them from recurring. Okay, I have a few case studies I'd like to share with you. So the first one is Steve Jobs' leadership at Apple. So he was a visionary leader, right? He drove innovation. Until today, people continue talking about him because they say that the iPhones that came into the world or that were produced or designed during his lifetime are not the ones that we see today. I mean, if you look at the innovation or the progress from iPhone 13, 14 to 15, it's not major breakthroughs as the ones that used to be. If you looked at iPhone 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he was a master at branding and consumer connection, very charismatic. Okay, and he built Apple's loyal customer base. Today, the 2 leading companies in the smartphone industry are Apple and Samsung. Each one of them holds about 30% of the market share. Okay, Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX. So again, he's a transformational leader, and he loves driving disruptive innovation. So if you look at Tesla, they're testing the autonomous vehicle, which probably we'll probably see sometime within the next few years. You know, every few years they say in 2025, in 2030, 2035, we're going to have autonomous vehicles, but it's not happening for different reasons. He's a very bold individual with bold vision that influences consumer perception. Many people buy Tesla products or they buy the SpaceX stock because they believe in the individual behind it, which is Elon Musk. And Tesla's brand loyalty, they have a lot of loyal customers, especially in the US, is linked to Musk's leadership. And if you realize, if you follow Elon Musk, every time he says something on X, this affects not only the sales of Tesla products and SpaceX stock market, but it also affects the number of people who are willing to buy or not buy the car. Okay, so if he says something that goes against people's perceptions or values, this can decrease the number of purchases of his product. Okay, Howard, he was the former he was the CEO of Starbucks. Okay, so his approach was the employee first approach, and that led to a very strong internal culture of people who are highly motivated, want to work in Starbucks. He believed in social responsibility, which strengthened customer loyalty. Super important today. Social responsibility in 2 words means that I show my customers, my clients, that I'm not only here to make maximum profit, but I'm also here to do something for society. Okay, part of my income or revenue will go towards, for example, developing drugs against cancer, to fight cancer or to fight some other disease, okay? Part of my profit will go towards helping teenagers in danger or battered women, okay? If you look at millennials, by the way, and Generation Z, they're willing to pay 10 to 15% more for a brand that shows social responsibility, okay? And he also believed in ethical leadership, and that improved its brand reputation. Okay, today its reputation is not as it used to be, maybe because of the new CEO, but the ethical leadership, if you look back at Starbucks in 2010, 2015, 2020, okay, their brand reputation was a lot better than it is today. Okay, now let's move on to how leadership influences consumer behavior. My area of expertise as an academic is consumer behavior. I've published over 24 about 24 academic articles, all of them focusing on consumer psychology or tourism psychology. All right, so let's take a look at how leadership influences consumer behavior, because it does. So leadership decisions shape brand perception, how we as consumers see the brand, and consumer trust. Okay, so if you have the right leader as the CEO with the right vision, this can substantially increase or decrease consumer trust if the wrong vision is there. Ethical leadership builds brand credibility. Okay, I mean, what is ethical leadership? It's like, for example, not sourcing products from a country that exploits women or kids in factories. Okay, so if I avoid doing that and I pay a salary that people can live from, I don't exploit people, I give them good conditions, good working conditions, and I build them up, that would be ethical leadership, and that will build my brand credibility and increase profits, market share, etc. Innovative leadership excites consumers. Okay, so what is an innovative leadership? Innovative leadership means that you always come up with new products. One of the things that makes Apple's followers, loyalists, consumers so excited about its products is that every year it comes up with something new. Okay, so that's part of being an innovative leader. And crisis leadership restores trust. So if you know how to handle crisis, this can help you restore consumer trust. And if you don't handle crisis properly, it can wreak havoc for your company, leading to a very low stock value, a very low consumer base, because people will not buy from you. Okay, let's talk about personal branding and leadership. So what is a personal brand? A personal brand is any individual who is a brand. Okay, like for example, the people that you see here, which we'll introduce in a minute. So when leaders become the face of a brand, this is very interesting. If you look at the guy from the left, his name is Richard Branson, and he is the leader of Virgin. Okay, it's an adventurous, customer-focused company. The lady on the right is Oprah Winfrey, which we all know. Okay, her brand is associated with trust and influence in the media. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that many times the leader of a company becomes its brand, and people cannot distinguish or disconnect the person from the brand. So even today, after Steve Jobs has passed I think he passed away about 17 or 18 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, until today, people cannot disentangle the Apple brand from Steve Jobs. Okay, consumer perception and leadership. Consumers trust brands led by strong ethical leaders. Ethical CEOs boost consumer loyalty. And that's one of the most important elements of business today. If you have a consumer base of people who are loyal to you, you don't need to spend money on bringing in new clients, because loyal customers buy more often, they buy more frequently, they recommend your product or service to friends, and they make your life a lot easier. But controversial leaders can damage brand perception. Okay? All right, let's take a look at leadership failures and consumer backlash. Uber was involved in a lot of issues regarding drivers who harassed passengers. And Uber also had a scandal surrounding its CEO, which severely hurt its brand image. And Facebook or Meta every so often suffers from a consumer backlash or from people who want to disconnect from Facebook because of privacy concern, which can lead to damaged trust. Let's move on to the role of leadership in marketing. So leadership shapes brand message.
You have something on the board itself, like yellow on the present.
It's not me. It's somebody who's played around with the pen. It's not me. Sorry, I don't know. I'm not controlling it. Yeah, sorry for that. But it's not me. Somebody just probably played around. The role of leadership in marketing. So leadership shapes brand messaging and marketing strategies. So if your leadership is a transparent one, okay, you don't hide things from your workers, you don't hide things from the public, this will boost your brand credibility. And if you have a strong vision, if you have a strong vision that aligns with customer values, this will increase the value of your brand and the number of loyal customers. Okay, many times the values of a brand does not align with the values of customers, and this could be problematic. And that's why you need to adapt in order to align yourself. So for example, let's say that most of my customers believe in sustainability. They believe in recycling. They believe in reusing. Okay, and my vision does not include any reference to sustainability. In that case, the two values will collide and these customers will not buy from me. Okay, so that's why you need to make sure that the values of that are included in your vision align with the values of your customers. All right, let's do a short discussion. Leadership in your experience. All right, so I'd like to give you a minute to think of a leader who influenced you positively. It could be the leader of a company. It could be a politician. It could be a writer. It could be anybody who you see as a leader. Okay, what leadership style did they use from the ones that I've mentioned today? And how did their leadership impact decision making, in your opinion? Okay, if you cannot answer the second question, just tell me in general, what leadership style did they use? And why do you think that this person is a good leader or a bad leader? Yoel, is that okay that we're doing this now before the big activity?
Absolutely, it's fine. I would also, you are most welcome to answer in the chat if you don't want to speak out.
Yeah, and can you please give me a second? I need to plug my computer to the electricity. 1 second. Okay,
absolutely.
1 second.
So to all our students and everyone else, actually, please, you are most welcome to, first of all, open your cameras, turn on your cameras, and answer in the chat about leaders that influenced you positively. Or what type of leaders?
Hi, can you hear me?
Fabrizio, yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry,
Yeah,
yes, I'm back.
I'm from Argentina, so the name is kind of tricky. It sounds like Italian. Well, to be honest, somebody who will inspire me is Adriasola Pastor. He's a YouTuber. He's a politician. He studied, he's from Spain, and he give a lot of speech, and I really be influenced by him because the way that he speak, the way that he really connects with other people, I feel like it's really amazing, to be honest.
Okay, and what leadership style do you think he used or believed in?
More than anything, I don't remember the type of leadership, but something that connects with other people. Like
Okay.
I don't remember what is the name. Sorry.
Okay. And do you think he was a natural leader, or do you think it's something that he learned how to
Yeah, yeah.
become? He was a natural. Okay.
No, no, no. He learned a lot. He really believes in communication with other people, and he really advocates with that. And it's really amazing to me, to be honest.
Right. Right. Thank you. That was a great example. Thank you. Okay.
So
Who else would like to share? Yeah.
in the chat, we have Betty who mentions Milton Hershey, the chocolatier.
Oh,
Yes, the
I
chocolatier.
love that chocolate.
Yes, I saw a show about the great foods in America, and I was really inspired by him. For the ones who don't know, he's the head of the Hershey's chocolate. He has this vision. I think he born as a leader, and even before he has the idea or he has the facilities to make a milk chocolate. He built this town in Virginia, Pennsylvania, I think, with farmers and workers. Even before he had this don't know
That
Formula.
Yes, the formula. Sorry, this formula how to make it. And over the years, just until he found it, how to make it, it would took him many times. So
Okay, that was a great example, Betty. Thank you.
So Luca says JFK and Omer, leaders that make me feel like part of something bigger, that give a sense of importance on the project. And I think those two are connected.
Okay, we also have Hamid who raised his hand.
Yeah.
Yes, Hamid.
Hello guys, I hope you have a really good day. I wanted to share with you, I had an experience in Iran in an insurance company, and I remember that, sorry, just to check, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
we
Can hear.
can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was telling that we had a CEO in that company, and he was really inspiring for us. I was a HR manager in that company, and I think the leadership style for that CEO was kind of democratic, because his mindset was really open to any new ideas, and I think our team were really successful during about 3 or 4 years in that company, and we restructured the organizational structure, and and there were some faults, about some financial faults and frauds in the company, and we totally changed the shared value. And shared value, I think it's really important. When I remember that we had some shared values, and our CEO was really persistent on these shared values. And in all meetings with all managers or all stakeholders, he was really persistent on these values, and he spoke and he described his values to others. And after that, he wanted others to participate in and add on in these values, for example, for new ideas, any new solutions for improve the performance and make a really sustainable company, not just getting money and just sale and yeah, saving profit. Yeah, that
Thank you,
was
Hamid.
my memory. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
I want to respond to that because I think you mentioned something that is super important. Many times in organizations, innovation comes from the employees themselves. Okay. And I think that as a leader, you need to encourage people to come up with ideas. And as a leader with the right vision, you should be able to identify the good ideas with the potential quite immediately. And you should facilitate. I think that a lot of times leaders, because of ego and different things, which I don't agree with, I mean, it's probably character and all sorts of other stuff. They pose an obstacle rather than facilitate innovation. So I see myself in any organization that I work as the facilitator, somebody who drops obstacles in order to allow my employees, who many times have great ideas, to run with them. Okay, so if you are, and I really like the example that you gave, and I think this emphasis on being democratic, allowing people to come up with an idea and not thinking you're the smartest, the best, and all of that is super important. Thank you, Hamid. Okay, we have Ellie and we have Konstantinos, and you're welcome to ask.
Mine was Mr. Beast. I don't know if you know him. He's an influencer on social media, and he just started like a whole show on Amazon as well. He's a leader of like his face, his personality is he's selling himself as an organization. He started to create also brands of himself. He has now like chocolate, it's called Feastables and stuff like that. He made his YouTube channel that he had no subscribers for like 10 years, and he built from it more and more. So I feel like it was determination a lot. He continued, he stuck to his plan, and he got more knowledge about it. And also like he's very creative. He will do something that is very big, very new, very like nothing ever, like no one ever saw it. So that's like,
so he's a risk taker.
He's a risk taker, yeah.
Okay, and that's an important component of leadership, taking risks.
And also like consistent, like he's still consistent with he's very consistent.
Yeah. So I think that this is another important point, Eli. I think if we look at ourselves as the leaders in our lives, we're all leading our lives. Okay, so being motivated, having a vision, where do I want to be in 5 years? Okay, and then thinking about the steps that I need to take in order to reach my goals, being motivated, believing in yourself, working on your self-confidence, and running with your passion. I think if you're passionate about what you're doing, you'll do it 24/7. Okay. Luckily, I've been privileged to do something, and by chance, okay, to do something that I love so much. For example, one of the things that I love doing a lot is writing, and I can do it 24/7. Okay, and if you do it a lot, you become better. So it's unavoidable to become better at what you do if you're so passionate about it. Okay. By the way, something I did not mention in the presentation. One of the biggest challenges that companies have today is a result of being tactical and not strategic. Okay, a lot of companies are just focusing on, okay, how many sales can we get this month, or how many sales we're going to get this week, okay, but not really thinking into the far future. So they're more tactical and less strategical. Okay, so when companies, when a company's strategy is to be tactical, which is what I see today in most organizations, it's called being tactical. Okay, tactical is the combination of the words strategical or strategic and tactical. And unfortunately, most companies' strategy is not looking at the long run, focusing on today, next week, next month. And that does not bring the desired result. The desired result is more customers, more happy customers, loyal customers, and eventual company growth. Okay, thank you. We have also Gal and MC, and you're welcome to ask questions.
I will just say that we have also a big activity on the very healthy activity on the chat. There are people who mention an Israeli marketing strategist, Eyal Arad, Steve Jobs, an English teacher from high school,
Okay.
a CEO that just trusted someone and send Raphael off to do something his way with his is trust, and Obama, Messi. We
Great
sometimes
examples.
forget. We sometimes don't mention or don't give enough credit for such personalities. That's it.
Okay, right. We have Gal and MC. Wanted to ask something or say something?
Yes, I would actually like to talk about my English coordinator. I am an English teacher also in high school in Israel. And my English coordinator, the person that heads the English team, I believe is a wonderful example of a leader. She's one of the first people that I've ever worked for that actually not only expressed concerns for us as far as getting the job done, but also concerns as far as who we were as people, if she felt that we were going through something that was maybe affecting our work. And more so than that, she also voiced her own doubts and fears. And I think that as I had never experienced that as a leader, someone that actually said, I'm nervous about this, I don't feel good about this, I'm tired. And it made them it made her more human, it made her more approachable, and it also gave me a feeling that it's okay to have insecurities and to feel doubts and to feel tired. That's perfectly fine, but we depend upon each other to, to see the job through, to get the job done. And
Yeah.
I think that ability to show the humanity of a person as a leader is one of the most important.
Yeah, so you're talking about being vulnerable, if I would summarize that in one word. And I think it's also being able to take responsibility for your mistakes and admitting I've made a mistake, which is something that a lot of great leaders cannot do. They cannot say I've made a mistake. And when you can admit to your followers or to your customers or whoever it is you're working with that I made a mistake, I can admit to it. I'm also human. I also make mistakes. I'm not, just because I'm a leader doesn't make that I'm uh, perfect all the time. That is something that is also a quality that you don't see in all leaders, but when you see it, it does bring a lot of people who follow them because of this humane character. Yeah, humane trait.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. By the way, Hamid asked about tactical. I just see sometimes messages popping up. So I'll just like to answer the question, Hamid. Tactical, first of all, is not a word that existed. It's something that I made up with Jay Abraham, and it will officially appear when the book is launched in Amazon. Again, tactical is, look, a company or a leader could be strategic or tactical, right? So strategic means looking into the far future, making decisions that will affect the company in the coming years. Tactical or being being tactical means focusing more on today, next week, next month, right? But not looking into the consequences into the far future. Tactical is when your strategy is to be tactical. That's tactical. Okay. Usually you're either tactical or strategic, but because I have identified a lot of companies whose strategy is to be tactical, I came up with this term, which I call tactical. So, Hamid, I hope that I answered your question. Okay, Konstantinos, anybody else? By the way, if I didn't manage to answer all your questions, I'd be more than happy to share my email with you if you have any questions that you want to ask after the presentation. I'd be more than happy. You're welcome to keep this presentation for your use later on. Okay, so can I continue with the presentation? I think I just have a few more slides and we go on to the group activity. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, it's basically coming to an end. So this is what I'd like them to do, Yoel, in the group activity. Okay, and I think yeah. That's what I was planning. But if you want to do something else, that's fine. But what I thought of is choosing a company and analyzing its leader. What leadership style did they use? So it could be any brand, Hershey's, whatever you like. And how does the leadership style impact the company culture and your behavior as consumers? Okay, so it could be Tesla, Apple, Osam, any brand that you can relate to. Okay, this is something we can do in the group work that you wanted us to do, Yoel.
Wait. Absolutely, we can do that.
Okay, so how would you like to do this, Yoel?
Well, we would have to
Do you want to create rooms?
rooms, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be ideal if we can have 2 students in a room.
2 students in a room.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that. So in between, can I ask some questions to the speaker?
Of course.
All right. So my first question, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to select as a leader, Yitzhak Rabin, because contains, all the types of this kind of category you have mentioned, according to my opinion. He was a democratic leader. He was a situational leader because he reacted to a very tough situation. He changed the vision of the whole country in order to move to technology that you are here, from agricultural one. He was a visionary because he sensed where the developments are moving. This is like why I think and also we spoke here about a lot of leaders. Every day is leader. I agree with you. However, in my opinion, a leader should inspire people in order to have an impact. And the impact also is like a measure in my opinion, about a leader. So that's why and we don't have politicians right now to be leaders. So I think that it was a great, global figure. And this is like what I would like. I follow him in Greece. And this is what I would like, I would like my country, to have, leaders like this one. So my question now is like, my first question is like to Abraham, like, what is the cost to be a leader? Because it's easy to say, it's hard to do because people, more speak than do. So I would like to ask you, what is the cost to be a leader? I mean, regarding a personal cost, financial cost, relationship cost, like the targets are over the humans. What is the cost in general to be a leader?
Okay, so we're talking about a leader where in a small
Anything.
organization.
For me, I'm coming from STEM. I'm coming from physics world. For me, everything is one story. I cannot still understand, these different categories of leaders because, in my opinion, leaders should have all these characteristics. It's very hard to be a leader. So what is the cost? If you lead the team, what is the cost that you should pay?
Okay, so obviously you're not talking about monetary cost. You're talking about social cost
No, of course.
psychological cost. Yeah,
yes.
right. Okay. Wow, that's a good question, Konstantinos. It's a really good question. So a leader is somebody who is committed to organization, right? You cannot say, look, I've worked from 9 to 5, and what happens at 5:01 is not my problem. So it means that many times the work comes into your home, and many times the home gets into the work. So it could be a high price, but you need to be able to control things. Okay, so I'll give you an example of what I do. Okay, so for example, in my department, I have about 50 lecturers and teaching assistants and about 220 students in my department. Okay, so it's maybe not the largest department that you'd be able to find, but it's not small, right? Let's say it's a medium-sized department. And I'm doing my job because I love doing it. I'm doing it because I feel a sense of mission. I was a student in my department, and I felt a big privilege and honor to be able to lead it after 20 years of graduation. So many times I come back home and I get phone calls from different people. It could be from students, it could be from lecturers, it could be from different administrative staff. So what I do is, Konstantinos, I set priorities. Okay, so I do look at my phone, and if I see that it's a WhatsApp message from a lecturer who's asking about something that is related to tomorrow, it's not an emergency, I do not respond. But I just know that it's there, and tomorrow morning I will respond. However, if I get a message saying, you know, there are rockets were launched and we don't know what to do, are we going to have physical studies tomorrow? We're not going to have physical studies. Obviously, I drop everything and I respond. Okay, so you need to be able to set your priorities straight. You need to have a calendar with all your to-do list, and you need to prioritize them. By the way, everything is in my calendar. Even if it's 2 hours to enjoy my writing, I write to myself. You know, from 10 to 12, you write. From 12 to 12:30, you check emails. Okay, everything is there. Okay, and I think it's all a matter of being able to explain to your partner or to your family, look, these 3 or 4 years, I'm in a leadership role, which can sometimes be demanding. I will do everything I can to separate my work from the family because I know that it can have a price. But if there's an emergency, I request that you understand that I'm responding or leaving our family because I need to answer the WhatsApp or the Telegram message because it's an emergency. Okay, so finding the right balance and having a supportive spouse is super important to any success, right? Regardless of the level of the leader you are, whether you are, you know, C-level leader or you're a medium, mid-tier level leader, or you're just a staff manager, or it doesn't make a difference, okay? You have a leadership role. So I think striking the right balance, and it's not easy, Konstantinos, it's really not easy. You have to be very disciplined because it's, you know, a lot of times I'm tempted to go to my phone. Who's writing a message at 9 o'clock at night? Okay. And maybe another thing that I should do, which I haven't done, is have two phones. Okay, one is your private, so it doesn't, you know, the work is not mixed up with your private life. Okay, and you look at your phone if there are messages, and if there are super important messages, you respond immediately. Many times I don't respond at all to messages. For example, if I get a message at 8 o'clock regarding tomorrow, I don't respond because I want to set boundaries with the people I work with. However, if I get a WhatsApp message or an email Friday morning, and I try not to work Friday, right? In Israel, we don't work Friday and Saturday. If it's not an emergency, I don't want to leave people thinking that, you know, he's ignoring me. So what I can do is I just write a quick message. Sorry, I'm busy with my family now. I will be more than happy to respond to your message, either by responding to the email or seeing you physically in college Sunday or Monday.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the answer. Also, Rafael, you know, I totally agree. You know, I can follow the chat as well. And my second question, Abraham, if you know, if I have the time, is the following: how can we support, you know, the leadership within the classroom? What is the way that we should teach our students in order to promote and support leadership? Because, as you said, we need to lead, you know, at least ourselves. So it's a daily life, let's say, competence that we need to have. So how we should, what is the pedagogy that we should follow, according to your opinion? Coming, let's say, from the market, because what did I understand? You're coming from the market. So what are you going to advise the institutions? How we need to teach our courses physics in order to promote leadership at the same time?
Yeah. So you need to instill particular characteristics and work on particular skills, which I think that once all of them are developed, you would be able to have people who might want to be in leadership roles, and they will have the skills. Okay. So the first one is creativity. Okay. We need to think of how to make our students more creative, and there are a lot of activities with them, I'm sure that you know. Okay, so focusing on creativity, being able to be self-learners or lifetime learners by encouraging curiosity, okay, and understanding that, and sorry, I was just distracted by the messages. One second, I need to return. I don't have ADHD or something, but I just lost my concentration for a minute. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we need to encourage creativity, right? That's where I was. We need to encourage lifetime learnings, being a self-learner, being able to use the platforms that we have today, like ChatGPT, and not have them replace us as people who can think critically, but teaching our students how to use it as a platform to be better workers, better students, better leaders. Okay, so I would work on creativity. I would work on being autodidact, okay, and being able to distinguish between all sorts of sources of information, some of them being more reliable, some of them being less reliable. I would work on emotional intelligence. I think that you cannot be a leader without emotional intelligence, or you cannot be a good leader without emotional intelligence. I can share with you resources in the book that I now co-authored with Jay Abraham. I wanted to have a chapter on emotional intelligence, but eventually we decided not to include it. I'd be more than happy to share with you the chapter that I wrote. There are a lot of ways to develop this. What else? Confidence, which I think is lacking in a lot of people. If you want to be a good leader, you have to be confident, and that's a lot of work. Okay. And I also think that you should work on strategic thinking. Okay, too many of us are just focused on today. How do I have fun today? How do I accomplish a high grade on my test next week? Okay, but not thinking into the long term. So I think that if you work on strategic thinking, you work on confidence, you work on being autodidact, right? Being able to learn yourself. You work on emotional intelligence. I think that these are the pillars, okay, of leadership. Okay, but it takes a long time to develop. And I think that if we do this gradually, even at the universities, right, people or students go through a 3-year program. Okay, so if we work on just self-confidence in year 1, and then emotional intelligence in year 2, and creativity in year 3, I think there will be great service to them. But I think we should, yeah, but I think it should be more than just one skill every year, right? I mean, it's just an example. Okay, so I think we give them a lot of hard skills. The soft skills are really missing. And I look at, and I look at my colleagues, by the way, and I say to myself, okay, this guy is a good leader, or she's a good leader. Why? Or this one is not a good leader. And I think that the one thing that distinguishes a good leader from a bad leader, from what I see in my area, in my field, is the empathy part.
Yeah, and I would add, something else, like if you would like to become leader or to improve your leadership skills, independent if you are a leader with the definition that you are providing, is like self-awareness. I think that, this feedback, self-awareness, feedback every day in order to improve. I mean, this is, I think, one of the things that works like as a facilitator, as you mentioned, in order to improve.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. You have to work on self-improvement. Yes, that's a good point, Constantino. So I just want to share something that I do. Okay, and sometimes I just don't think about it because it just happens intuitively or naturally. So before I go to bed, I really recall things that I said, I did, and I always try to say to myself, okay, I cannot change the past, but what can I learn from what I did, how I reacted, the decision I made, in order to make a better future for myself, for my employees, for my students. Yeah, so that was a super important point, Constantino says, being self-aware and always improving and working on yourself. Yeah.
I have a question, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want your feedback and your opinion on data analysis among leaders. I mean, would you think data is the core of their work now? I mean, in this rapid changing world.
Yeah, sorry. So what's the question, Katya, again? I'm sorry.
Data. Sorry, yeah, I'm not mute. Okay. So how is data integrated in the work of a good leader? I mean, if we're thinking of, let's say, on a basic level, thinking of principals at schools, they would make decisions based on data they have or their personal I mean, choices or whatever values they have. Okay, so, and thinking of a company like Amazon, it is based on data.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
do you think that it goes for every type of leadership that you just mentioned?
Yes, I think so, because I think you cannot really make a good decision. Look, every decision that you make as a leader will have substantial impact on the people that you're leading in the organization, on the customers, right? Because you make a decision that will impact all shareholders, okay? And I think that the only way to make a right decision is to base it on data. So many companies don't have databases, big data, okay? But you can base it on data that comes from consulting other employees, speaking to different people in the organization, other managers. Okay, so I would make decisions only based on data. I would never just make it intuitively. I mean, once I have all the information once I have all the information that I need, only then will I make a decision. Okay, I will not make any decisions in the dark, especially if I know that it's going to have far-reaching consequences for the shareholders.
Can I interrupt? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. I have a comment about the data subject. I've worked in public speaking, and I've also managed and opened up departments for social media marketing. And in these areas, there's a lot of tendency to play with the numbers, and the use of data is very fluid. And how the people all over the world conceive the data is very dependent on their understanding of the field. So it's very easy to take pretty much any sort of data and stats and to play and manipulate the numbers to your benefit. So data has a lot of effect, obviously, in these areas, but there has to be some sort of underlying understanding that you hold of the truth about your work and the field that you're working in, or the field of your expertise.
Yeah, that's true. There are some areas where reliable data is lacking. Especially if you look at Israel, a lot of consumer data is lacking. So if I want to make any decisions about the Israeli market, many times I have to first see what is available in the US, in Europe, etc. And then I find myself doing surveys here in Israel because a lot of data is missing. So you're right, Gal. It really depends on the industry you're working in. Okay, but in some areas you have a lot of reliable data in sites like Statista, or all sorts of ministries like the CBS, the Central Bureau of Statistics. But in some industries, reliable data is simply lacking. And what you're saying about data manipulation is absolutely right. In some areas where there is no central control of data, people can just take it, manipulate it, and just represent it in the light that they would like us to see it. Okay, so if I understood you correctly, yes, absolutely, Gal. Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions? No. So we everything is ready for the room activities, but I think that I think really your lecture was so enriching and inviting and accessible and enlightening that people just that questions just flowed in. So I don't think that so I'm not sure that we should do more activities, but I would invite more people to ask questions or to share insights. I can say for myself that when I think in terms of leadership, that a lot of time, if I think in pedagogical terms or academic or in academic settings, a lot of times we tend to think of leadership as something that that comes from above and lift those people who are below, but a lot of times you are positioned naturally as a leader by being by being, for example, a teacher in a class, and your leadership is actually carried by those who you were supposed to lift. So I always feel that there is sort of a dialogue or dialectical tension between leading and being actually carried or pushed into leading. There is something. Without my students, I would not be. Without my good and devoted and dedicated students, I would not be much of a leader, actually.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with you. And I see this especially in academia, where you are a tenure track professor and you just find yourself in the role of head of department. And many people don't like being or not, they're not motivated by any vision, or they just say I have to do this because I have to do this. And those who don't really want to do it, but they just find themselves in the position, they're more managers than leaders. They just manage things. Okay, if there's a problem, I'll take care of it, but they don't set any long-term goals. And this has substantial impact on the department. You see a lot of departments changing drastically as far as number of students are concerned, program enrichment, innovation, when you have such leaders who were just pushed into the role and didn't grow into it because they wanted to.
And here, really, Abraham, I would like to ask you something. Here in Pennsylvania, right now in the university that I'm locating, they face this issue, this challenge. What is the right balance regarding the leader and the manager? Because at the end of the day, you need to, if you were talking about money and we are talking business here, all the universities are private. Of course, for the development and for your competition, you need to have, a vision in order to be developed. But at the same time, you need to manage, also the daily life. So a president of a university, what is the right balance? How can you balance? Because you need both of them. You need to be a leader and at the same time a manager. And you need to identify the balance. What are your tips in order to identify this balance?
Well, I can tell you from my personal experience, if I divide my work, my week among the different things that I do, leading the department, being a researcher, and doing all sorts of other stuff. If I look at my role as the academic department leader, I would say that 50% of my time is dedicated for strategic thinking, organizing, meeting with people who will, together with me, build programs that will shape the department in the coming 2, 3, 4 years. And the other 50% taking care of daily issues. Okay, but I do find that a greater proportion of my role is management at the beginning of the semester and the end of the semester, when all sorts of crises arise and I must take care of them. Okay, but a semester in Israel is 3 months, so I would say more or less a month or third, okay, out of an academic year, I am more of a manager, okay, and 2/3, I can settle down and say, okay, I'm focusing on myself as the leader and thinking ahead and trying to make all sorts of collaborations and build a department and bring in whether new courses, new programs that will shape it in the coming years. Yeah. So I think the balance is plus on average 50-50.
So, Vili, so thank you very, very, very much for this great lecture. Thank you. Yeah.
2 more people who raise their hands.
Yeah, and if I may, I just want to say one more thing about Konstantinos, because I think your question was great. The mindset should be like this. At the beginning of the semester, I'm the manager because I don't have time to be the leader. And then in between, I'm the leader now because everything is running. And then again, I'm the manager. Yeah, sorry.
So we have two more that would like to ask or say something or share their thoughts.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Oh,
can.
wait.
You can. You can,
Mohammed,
Alyssa.
you were...
Yeah,
Okay.
continue, Alyssa. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, hello. Hi, everybody. I hope you all will have a nice course. Thank you to the lectors. So my question is, how, as a person who is afraid of responsibility, who has this feeling of guilt when a lot of people depend on you, and if you will fail, you will how do you call it? Like betray them?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how can we deal with this feeling and as a leader?
Yeah, that's a good question, Elisa. Well, first of all, I think that you need to work on your mindset and understand that a leader is also a person and a person makes mistakes. Okay? But as a leader, you're going to do everything possible in order to minimize risks. Okay? So, if you're thinking in a way of, I've been given the role of a leader because people believe in my abilities to make decisions and my abilities to lead this company or organization to a better place. So you, somebody's sharing something. Okay, sorry. If you believe in your ability, I think we should just stop the screen sharing.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
1 second. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know if somebody. Yeah, sorry. So if you assume, Elisa, that I've been given this role because I'm worthy of leading this organization, people believe in me, okay? And I'm going to do everything I can in order to minimize the risk, okay? Or minimize making the wrong decision, okay? You'll be in a very different place because all of us can make mistakes, okay? Me as a leader, I also made mistakes and I had to pay a price, okay? But if I made a mistake as a leader, okay, I will always admit to it and do everything I can in order to restore the position which was threatened because of a decision that I made. Okay, so before I make any decision, I always consult, and I think that the more people you consult with, whether they are lower rank or higher rank, you first of all will feel confident that you're making the right decision. Okay, and when you're confident about making the right decision, you will not have any feelings of guilt because you say, look, I did everything to make this program successful, but it did not work. Okay, so I don't know, Lisa, I think she disappeared. She's not here. But I hope that I.
Why?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
here.
because I couldn't see her. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
listening to
Okay,
you.
disappeared from my screen. Yeah. Okay, so Elisa, I think that if you adapt the type of leadership that is more collaborative, okay, and that consults with other people, you will have more confidence regarding the decisions that you will make. Okay, but if you have any specific example that you would like to share, will help me focus you, okay, into that right mindset. But having been very general, my answer is also very general, and I hope that it does help you a little bit.
Okay, and Hamed,
Thank you so much.
which is our last question for today.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I have a question. Dear Abraham, you said that I think if I'm right, you said that the most important thing about the difference between different leadership styles or different leaders is the empathy. But
That's what I saw in my organizations. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the only difference.
Okay. So because now I'm studying digital technology engineering, and we are really focused on the design thinking approach and how we can empathize with others. I'm really curious about your specific example about the real world problem and the real world case, that how the empathy about the leader, how the leader can use the empathy, or how the empathy can make a difference in leadership style.
Okay. Let me think of an example. Okay, so in my department, I have 2 secretaries. Okay, one secretary is called the Secretary for Administrative Affairs, and the other one is the Students Secretary. Okay, and my Secretary for Student Affairs, she's relatively younger. And I've noticed that in her first few interactions with students in the department, she would respond in ways that were not very empathic, at least as they were perceived by the students, and students became very angry. Okay, so instead of saying to her, you know, why are you talking like this to students, or you should be talking like this to students, what I did is I took a more empathic approach, and I said, look, I understand why you responded the way you responded. Okay, the student understood you this way, and you tried to pass on a certain message which did not come across the way you wanted. Okay, that's what you perceived as not empathic. Okay, so I explained the problem, and then I told her what I think an empathic or a more empathic response would be. Okay, and she perceived my attitude or my behavior towards her as empathic, because if I would just come and, you know, shout, oh, what are you doing? Well, you know, the student is not happy now. I expressed empathy. I said, look, I understand. I put myself into her shoes. Being empathic means being able to put yourself in other people. So I understand why you responded the way you did. You don't have much experience with these kind of situations. I think this is where you went wrong. And if you would like to be perceived as more empathic in the future, these are the steps that you should take. Okay? Another example of being empathic is at the end of the semester, you complete surveys, right? How was the lecture? Good, bad, from 1 to 5, from 1 to 7, right? Okay, I always take the ones who get the 5 lowest ranking. Okay, I get a list of ranking, okay, from the lecture that got 7 out of 7 to the one who got 2 out of 7. Okay, so I take the ones at the bottom 5, okay, and I invite them to my office. And I said, you know, how do you feel about the semester? What things went wrong? What things you think went well? What things went wrong? And I say, look, I looked at your average, and it's 2.7, which is far below the minimum which I would think you should be able to reach 5. How would you explain it? Okay, and then they say, well, you know, I had a bad semester. I had issues with my parents. I'm getting divorced. I listened to them. Okay, and I said, look, I know you had a bad semester. Let's make a plan together and see how we can reach the minimum 5. Now, if I would come with the attitude of, look, it's 2.7 and the minimum, as far as I'm concerned, is 5. I don't know what the reason is, but you're a terrible lecturer. Even if they would still teach in my department, they would not like me. They would say, oh, this guy is insensitive, he's inconsiderate. But having said, look, I understand the situation. You were getting divorced. Okay, I know that you can do a lot better, although maybe they can do better. Okay, but I want to encourage them. I say, I know you can do a lot better. Let's think of a plan. The next semester, by the way, the survey was about 6. Okay, so empathy can come into play in different ways. It's being able, just put yourself in the situation. Okay, say something like, okay, maybe in your situation, I would act the same. Maybe I would get the same results. Let's think together how we can improve things. And then you are perceived as an empathic person and as a person who is there for their development. Okay, you care about them. You want them to become a better teacher. Okay?
Okay. And Valentina, your...
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll have to go because I have a Zoom meeting in 7 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Valentina, can you ask one small question? Can you?
Yes, I wanted to ask a quick question about what we were saying before. We were talking about leadership failure. I think you mentioned Yuva and Facebook. And I just wanted to ask, how do we deal with this failure, or how do we avoid it? I know we can't really avoid it because things happened and we have to deal with it, but how can we deal with it, whether it's a big company or it's a small department?
Very simple. You first take responsibility. Okay, we take responsibility for the data leak. Okay, and you also express the steps that you're going to take, and you take them. Because if there's a crisis and you say, yeah, we take responsibility, we're sorry, we're going to do it, and you don't do it, and then there's another data leak tomorrow, this will severely impact the brand perception. And then it will be very difficult to recover. Okay? So sticking to your word, taking responsibility. Look, I know it happened. We're sorry. We're doing the best we can, but there was a data leak. There's nothing we could have done. Okay, but we are taking every step we can now in order to prevent this from happening in the future. And you really stick to your word. Okay, so if I looked at different crisis management practices in different companies, and the companies that took responsibility, okay, amended the problem and even said to customers, if it's a physical, look, Facebook is not a physical product, okay, but if it's a physical problem, you say, a physical product, you say, look, we take responsibility, we're going to do everything we can to amend the situation, to correct it, okay? If you feel that there might be a problem with the product you have now in your home, you are more than welcome to return it. We'll give you credit, we'll give you money back, okay? By the way, 95% of your customers will not come back asking for money, but you will be perceived as somebody who knows how to deal with crisis.
Vili, thank you very, very much for this lecture.
With a great pleasure.
It was...
Wishing you all good luck.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. To all of the students, thank you. That was our first lecture for this semester. It was, in my opinion, very enlightening, very enriching. And I hope that you learned quite a lot from it. A few remarks before we go on. We are nearing 6 now, and we started a little bit late, and we will probably we will not. Therefore, we could not do an activity in the breakout rooms today. We prefer to you asking questions and let Vili share his wisdom and answers. And also there is a great activity in the chat, which is which was good. But next time we'll probably first of all use a different Zoom link that we will send you. This is this is 1. 2, you should all have access to the course model, which is this. Wait a minute. Let me just share the which is this one. And here really you have all of the those of you who could come in, basically you have the slides, the slideshow from the slides from today's lecture in the core concepts here with today's dates. And you have the next week when we will meet on the 10th, we will have 2 short lectures. One, leadership in technology and managerial leadership, and the importance of the use of language in leadership. So you can even now get in.
Yoel, I tried to get in. It asks for a password or something that I don't have.
And you don't have it. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
me too. And
yes,
I have this problem as well, and I cannot open the link. Yeah.
Let us,
can I make a quick clarification?
Please.
First of all, as I wrote you, some of you have not got the username and password for Moodle yet. We're going to send them in a few days. Others have already got the username and password, but some of you may have experienced some problems accessing Moodle. If you have any problem with the username and password you got, email me, okay? Okay, Yoel, you can now go on. And in any case, I will send by email all the anything that you need for next week, okay? So even if you don't have access to Moodle yet, you will have all the information and files and whatever you need for next week in a day or 2.
Okay, so everybody will be ready for next week, including the exact instructions and clarifications regarding the assessment of the regarding the course requirements and the tasks, and the assessment the assessment. Everything will be clear. So with this, if there are no more questions, I would like to thank again Willie Abraham, which has left us for this first lecture. Wish you a pleasant week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for all.
Thank you. Bye bye.